Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a comedy horror slasher film from 2004 from director Jeff Lieberman, director of Squirm, which I did a review of, and Blue Sunshine, which I did a review of. And tonight's movie is Satan's Little Helper. Now, this film has to do with a stupid kid who is in love with this shitty looking video game where you basically play a demon that helps Satan kill people and torture people and stuff like that. Who happens to end up helping out a serial killer on Halloween night who is dressed up as Satan. So the film opens with credits and the kid playing the game, which looks absolutely shitty, and driving um to a like harbor with his mother because his sister who's at college is coming home for Halloween. That's kind of weird considering we usually come home for like Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday people like to celebrate with their families. And the kid apparently, Doug, the main character, apparently wants to marry his older sister. Wow. And that's not the first hint of incestual content we get in this film either. So the kid asks his mother if Satan exists, and he claims that him and his sister this Halloween are going to find Satan and help him commit evil deeds. Now, before I even start with what I'm going to say about this, I'd like to make sure you guys remember I'm a very open-minded person. I let people believe what they want, and yeah, I'm a full supporter of the Church of Satan. I mean, it's a very nice religion. It's very accepting, very open. It's not evil like people make it out to be. But if this was my kid, I would get him some serious fucking mental help. So the family meets the sister's boyfriend Alex, who wants to go trick or treating with him, and Doug has a freak out, becomes increasingly antisocial during the car ride home, and the group come and the sister and her boyfriend and the mother go find out what their costumes are, just work on their costumes, while Doug searches for the devil. Doug then sees the serial killer putting a corpse on I'm going to assume it's his house, his front porch. And yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, that's actually to make it look like a Halloween decoration, which that's actually really cool and original. As far as I can remember with Halloween horror films. So Satan scares some kids. When he's walking away from the house, Doug follows him. Alex plans to dress up as Satan for Halloween to make Doug happy. And then Satan realizes that Doug has been watching him the entire time while he's putting up decorations, and he asks Satan if he talks and if he could kill his sister's boyfriend Alex. And then Doug walks around letting Satan follow him. Apparently, Doug has a soundproof basement, which I mean that works fine for Satan's needs. So Doug gets upset upon hearing that Alex wants to dress up as Satan, but he's like, okay, we'll go to the party store and yada yada yada. And Doug comes up with a plan for this. They go to the costume store and look inside for a mask. Doug and Alex, while the killer is just waiting outside. And the killer finds a place to hide and beats Alex basically to death with his bare hands. Before sitting his corpse on the front of an abandoned house like a decoration, and then finding a stray cat and picking it up, and he's like, oh, cute, and then he crushes its head against the like boarded up door and writes "boo" in its blood. That is fucking awesome. Now, the whole family. Now, when Doug comes home and the serial killer shows up too, Doug compliments his sister's tits, and then the killer, and then everybody thinks the killer is Alex in a costume, and he gets a bit frisky. The killer locks the front door. Uh, let's see, the killer scares Doug's mother. Um, and then the killer agrees to go out and buy some candy for the trick or treaters. It turns out Alex wasn't dead; he was only passed out. That's not so good for our killer. So our killer and his helper steal some candy, rope, duct tape, and other killing supplies. A worker follows them and is stabbed in the gut. The killer and the kid play hit and run with a shopping cart, hitting pregnant women, causing them to fall and roll onto kind of like the hoods of their cars, hitting baby carriages, blind people, yada yada yada. So will Doug and Satan continue their rampage, or can they be stopped? Um, this is one of those this is one of those many movies I found out about years ago when video stores were very abundant, and this movie was probably in every other like fucking blockbuster and Hollywood video on this planet, or at least in Ohio, because I'd see it almost every weekend. I'd go renting movies, and I'd be interested in renting it, but I wouldn't. Similar to my relationship with movies like Terror Toons, The Ice Cream Man, Dead and Breakfast. Um, the acting in this one is actually pretty decent, and same with the writing. Uh, the camera work and lighting are well done. The effects are kind of okay. Um, it is a dark comedy film, and I can see that people might find this movie funny also because it's a little bit cheesy, but there are some genuinely funny moments in the film. Um, there are a few kills that are pretty creative, uh, and the movie's actually pretty creepy, considering the fact that this could actually happen in real life. Like a kid end up helping a serial killer on Halloween. Like that. I mean that it's not extremely likely, but it could very well happen. Um, it could happen maybe once in the entire history of the human race. Um, probably one of the better slasher films of the new millennium, especially the 2000 to 2005 ish area. Not many great slasher films came out then. This is definitely one of the better ones that came out. Um, it's it has a very original plot. I will give it that. Although the plot is very simple and it probably could have been done like years and years and years ago, and people were just like, no, let's just keep rehashing the same shit that we see in every other popular slasher film and put them in our B slasher films because we will definitely become popular. And then this B movie comes along and is like, hey, we're going to do a new idea, a completely original but yet still simple idea, and it works. Really, the only few complaints I have, the main character Doug, can get very annoying at times. Now, he didn't get super annoying to the point where I was ready to just turn off the movie, at least for me. Um, the undertones of incest is also another problem I had with this movie, just because that's kind of weird. I don't know if there's something wrong with the director, but then again, this is coming from a guy who directed a movie about flesh-eating earthworms and acid that turns you into a serial killer. Um, that makes you lose your hair and turns you into a serial killer like 10 years after you took it originally. So yeah. And the fact that this kid in this movie is very, very stupid. Um, not all the characters are extremely stupid. I mean, some of them are have a bit of intelligence, but it's mainly the kid who's probably the stupidest fucking character in this movie. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like The Corpse Grinders and 10 being something like Brain Dead, this movie's a 4, maybe a 4.5, maybe a 5. There's 1 or 2 stabbings, nothing too gory except one scene where a man's intestines are pulled out, and that is like the only actual scene of where you see any intestines. The rest of them just contain a bit of blood. There's a scene where he does drug a bunch of people at a party, and they do fall down, then they're poisoned, they're foaming at the mouth. Definitely one worth checking out. It is on Netflix if you guys are interested in checking it out. It's also on Amazon Prime if you guys have Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free on there, and it's also available on DVD. Definitely worth checking out if it sounds interesting to you, if the plot sounds interesting or anything like that. It's worth at least one watch. It's really a cult film. I could say it's a really big, not a really big cult film, but I could say that it's a big cult film in the way that it's cult. It's more cult than cult is a cult film. It's it's a really cult film. Let's just say that. I didn't really love this movie. I didn't like it a ton, but I did think it was a pretty good movie. I'd definitely buy it if I saw it for like $10 or cheaper. Um, 3.5 out of 5 stars, 7 out of 10. It was a good movie. It was pretty good. Anyway, guys, I'm Biscuit Boo 69 signing off. Peace.
You're listening to a demo for